Today's stories include our reaction to the Nintendo Switch 2 price, our reaction to the price of the Nintendo Switch 2 games, and our reaction to the Nintendo Switch 2 games themselves. We'll have all this and more because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. I am Paris Lilly, and I am joined by the Rogue One, Gary Whitta. How you doing, Gary?
I'm all right. I got to be honest, this is a little bit weird. I'm in the studio, or like you can't see what I can see, but like there's no one else literally in this massive room with me. There's no one here. I'm physically the only person in the entire studio. You're obviously here virtually, and I can technically see you on the screen in front of me, but it's, I don't know, I feel a little bit isolated. It's strange. I'm sure it'll go away. It's just, this is a first for me.
Now, Greg offered to come sit in there with you. Would you like that?
No, not really.
Okay.
I'm good. I'll get over it.
Okay. You're so strong.
Hey, it's you and I doing this, so of course it's going to have to be different than the norm. I wish I was in studio, but obviously there is a lot going on this week. And Gary, it's always good to talk to you.
Yeah, likewise. I had no idea that we would be doing this today, but it's always a pleasant surprise to be hosting with you. And we've obviously got a lot of cool stuff to talk about.
Oh, yeah. All the Switch 2 news that came down today. Let me say this before we jump into the show. Props to everybody on Gamescast for breaking everything down from the Switch 2 reveal, especially Kat Bailey. She's great. She's awesome. She brought a lot of relativity, or am I saying that correctly, to the discussion, because things that I wasn't thinking about, I'm like, oh, yeah, she's 100% spot on about this. But we'll jump into that as we get into the show here. So I want to remind everyone that this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run down through the nerdy news you need to know about live on YouTube, Twitch, and on podcast services around the globe. If you love what we do, support us with the Kind of Funny. I can't read. I'm sorry. If you love what we do, support us with the Kind of Funny membership on Patreon, YouTube, and now Spotify and Apple Podcasts to get all of our shows ad-free, watch us, record them live, and get a daily exclusive show. For a chance to be a part of the show, submit your thoughts and opinions as YouTube Super Chat with YouTube Super Chats as we go. See, I'm trying to read it, and I'm like, let me just say it in my own words. And again, for housekeeping, we are an 11-person business all about live talk shows. Today, you've already gotten our live reaction to the reveal of the Nintendo Switch 2 and a Gamescast breaking down every announcement about the Switch 2. After this, you're getting a marathon Pokemon stream with Nick and Mike. If you're a Kind of Funny member, today's Greg Way will be all about how amazing showcase days like today are. Thank you to our Patreon producers. Oh my God, I'm going to say this name wrong. Anatoly asked. Am I saying that right? I'm probably saying it wrong.
I think you nailed it.
Oh, did I? All right.
I think so.
Awesome.
What's this about a marathon Pokemon stream after this? I thought we were going to do Mario Party.
I think we moved away from that.
Are you fucking kidding me? I blocked out the whole day. I cancelled shit for this. And nobody fucking told me.
I'm so sorry. You can come play Pokemon with us.
It's a fucking clown show.
I'm so sorry.
I love this. Well, I'm not at the clown show. I'm in Southern California. Let me finish these Patreon producers. Delaney Twining, Carl Jacobs, and Omega Buster. Today, we're brought to you by Lost Skies, Monaco 2, and Rocket Money, but we'll tell you all about that later. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Are we doing it? There we go. It's time for some news. We have one story today. Thank you, Kevin. That's awesome. The Roper Report. The Switch 2 has been revealed and the games have been detailed. So, like we said, Gamescast went topic by topic and game by game. So we'll be a little more top level with this because we don't want to break this down and we'll be here for 5 hours trying to do that. So, Gary, have you watched the Switch 2 reveal? Do you know about anything that happened so far?
I didn't watch the entire hour-long live direct because obviously it was very early this morning and then I had to rush in and get here for an early start. But I did, like, literally in the shower. I was watching some of it. I was like, watched bits and pieces where I could. I watched like the 5-minute summary of the system, that kind of laid out the broad strokes. Yeah. I watched the Mario Kart World reveal and some of the details there, and I watched the voice chat camera stuff. So I've got like, I'm sure there are other specific games and things that I missed, but I think like the basics.
Right. Well, the price because I want to start there with the price.
$450, right? That's what they're doing.
Yeah, $450, $449.99. So I'm curious your thoughts. How do you feel about that?
It's higher than my over under was $399. If I was a betting, well, I am a betting man, but if I'd have placed a bet on this, I would have put it at $399. That kind of felt like the sweet spot for me, and knowing what we know about what other consoles, what other hardware generally tends to cost. Obviously with Nintendo, you never quite know, but we've got a rough idea of like what feels right, what seems right for this kind of system. And I was at $399. So for it to come in at $449 is like a little bit on the higher side. I kind of feel like I'm sure they would have preferred to bring it in at $399. Anytime that top digit ticks up, right? Whether it's $449 or $499, that front digit is still a 4, right? And that's real, that's full on console. I mean, it is a full on console, so fair enough. Maybe because you also think of it as a handheld. There's a little bit of price discrimination there. Look, it's a handheld, but it's not. It's also not just a handheld. The whole point is it is a full-on console, and hopefully, we'll get into the specs later. And once we actually get our hands on one, we'll really know. But hopefully, is going to close that gap between the hardware performance of the higher end systems and this one. And so my guess is to get it where they wanted to get it with the 4K and the 120 frames and everything else that it's doing. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say this is the cheapest they possibly could bring it in at the specs that they wanted. But it's still, I would like to have seen it $399. I mean, look, it's going to sell. You're not going to be able to get one on day one, no matter what. Even if it was $499, it would still sell out. But like, what's the price that I would have liked to have seen? And kind of in my own, like, what do I know about what hardware really costs brain? $399 kind of felt like the over under. So they've gone a little bit over. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm actually with you on that. I thought $399. I just thought you don't want to see that 4 number. You want to still keep it reasonable for families and obviously consumers, because if I'm not mistaken, the original Switch back in 2017 was $299. I think I'm correct on that. So this is a pretty big increase coming to the next console, going all the way up to $450. So I thought, okay, $400 seems reasonable because of everything that you talked about. We knew, again, just rumors, potentially docked it was going to do 4K. It sounds like even in handheld mode, it's doing 1080p up to 120 frames per second as well. HDR is being added to it now, bigger size screen. I know they didn't talk, I don't think they said anything specific about battery life yet, so we still don't know anything about that.
No, they did. But, it was in the spec sheet, and it was interesting. I just wanted to chat about this outside. Yeah. The number they gave is kind of silly. It's the battery range they gave on the spec sheet is 2 to 6.5 hours. And then it has a disclaimer at the end that says, obviously, battery life depends on conditions and what game you're playing and so on and so forth. But that's a really long, I mean, obviously, that's a massive range, right? 2 hours to 6.5 hours. And then the bottom end of that's very, I mean, this is an issue that handhelds, Steam Deck, every system has this, right? And the battery life is still the big bottleneck. That's not brilliant, though.
No, I completely agree. And to your point, I didn't know that because, again, all this news is coming in so hot and fast. The 2 to 6, I guess I get, because when you think about a game like Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be playable on this. We know, well, I'm sure we'll get into some of the other games. What is it? Duskborn, I believe we're calling it now, the new From Software game. That's going to be pretty intensive as well. So it's probably going to also take a lot of battery life. But some of the simpler games clearly aren't going to need as much performance to be able to run, so they're going to have better battery. I don't think they've talked. They haven't. And again, I'm doing all this real time, so I I don't think they've said anything about utilizing DLSS or anything because we know it's using NVIDIA under the hood. So I'm sure they'll talk about more of that from a technical standpoint down the road. But getting back to the actual price of it, yeah, I mean, I wish it was cheaper. $450 isn't crazy to me. I still felt that was reasonable for everything that you said from what this device is going to be able to do. I'm more concerned about the actual game prices themselves. Like, I'll fully admit, I went to Nintendo.com already and registered for the bundle, which is the Switch 2 and Mario Kart World.
Yeah, and it adds $50 on, right?
Right. But Jeff Keighley already announced that the digital version of Mario Kart World is $80. That I'm legitimately concerned.
Oh, so if you buy the bundle,
because,
you're actually getting it on the cheap. You're getting for $50.
Yeah, that'll be a deal. But what does that mean outside of that game moving forward for Nintendo games? Is that the new price?
That is expensive. Games? I think generally across the board, you are going to see, especially as we go into the, because Nintendo's kind of like weirdly like halfway through the other generations. They're on their own schedule. But like as we get into the next Xbox and PS6, I think you're going to see that $80 price point. Now, traditionally, I mean, I remember when games went from 40 to 50. Right, and 50. I mean, they went from 50 to 60 with was it the 360 generation that bumped them up? I can't remember, but like people going, oh my god, here we go. Yeah, look, games are getting more expensive to make. Right, we see all the time about massive teams and $1 billion budgets, and everything you expect from AAA, what that costs. Yeah, the prices are going to go up. So I think 80 is a lot. I'd be interested to see if the physical and digital prices are the same. Right,
They're not.
They're not?
They're saying physical is going to be more.
So what, you're looking at $90 for a Nintendo game card? Come on.
People can correct us if we're wrong here, because like I said, I'm real time seeing all this info come in over social media, so I don't have 100% the details, but from everything I understand, physical copies will cost more.
I mean, that's a real bit of sticker shock, right? Imagine going to Target or wherever you go to buy, a GameStop, wherever you go to buy your video games. And you walk out, you say, oh, Mario Kart World, and there's the game. I want the physical copy. And you go out and then it says $89.99. Like it's going to take a moment to like reacclimatize to this new world, right?
Oh, absolutely. And before we dive into that more, I just want to get into some of the more specifics. So again, $449.99 is the price for the Switch 2. Pre-orders will open on April 9th to be able to get it. Like I just mentioned, I went onto Nintendo.com and you can kind of pre-register.
Yeah, I already got the email
for that.
I wonder hopefully, because I remember when like they did Alarmo. Remember Alarmo? The alarm clock? It was so if you were a Nintendo Switch Online subscriber, which we have the family plan for everyone to have all the Nintendo Switch Online features. You got preferential like VIP treatment to like order it before anyone else could. I don't know if that's going to be the case with this. If like people have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, we'll get front of the line or whatever. But it sounded like they were kind of hinting at that we had an opportunity to register early, and we'll see how that actually plays. It's going to be a shit show on pre-order day and launch day, no matter what. But hopefully
at least
there'll be
that might help a little with scalpers.
Thank you.
So I think
and here is an alarm. Does it turn on? No, of course it fucking doesn't.
But the other bundle that you'll be able to get, like I already mentioned, will be at $499.99, and that comes with Mario Kart World. Release date for this is going to be June 5th. Right before Summer Game Fest, so that's going to be interesting when everybody gets together for that in June in LA. Just kind of going down the list here of stuff. So interesting as I'm doing the rundown here. So yes, like I said, Mario Kart digitally will be $80. The physical version of it will be $90. But Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is another game that is coming out, I believe the release date on that is going to be July 17th. I believe I'm correct on that, is $70 digitally. So I guess not everything first party from Nintendo is jumping up to $80. There will still be some $70 games.
Yeah, I think for Gary, the hardcore titles, like the next Mario Odyssey or whatever it is, those are going to charge you a premium. I will say, and I'm going to sound like a Nintendo apologist here, and I often am because I love Nintendo. There are definitely things about the Switch 2 that I'm disappointed by, and we'll get into that as well. I wanted, you want everything, right? You're never going to get everything, but the things we didn't get, I was like, oh man, that was something I actually really wanted. $80 for Mario Kart sounds like a lot of money, right? $80 for a video game. With Mario Kart, though, come on, let's be honest. That is a game you are going to play for fucking years and for thousands and thousands of hours, right? Like people that play, we still play Mario Kart 8, right? That's a fucking Wii U title, right? And we still play it because that's the most recent version of Mario Kart, and we bust it out all the time. So I think if you're talking about like how much it costs versus like value for money, like how many hours are you going to of entertainment is this game going to give you? Mario Kart, you could be $100 and you would still come out on top. You know what I mean? And not every game's like that, but Mario Kart is one of those games that just, it has potentially infinite, value for money.
Well, you know what this tells me, and Kat actually mentioned this during Gamescast. I fully expect Grand Theft Auto 6 to be $100 now because they can get away with it for everything that you just said.
They know people are going to pay it.
Yeah. As much as I don't want that, and trust me, I don't. It will not shock me to see Take-Two come out and say, yeah, it's $99.99 because we know it's going to be the biggest seller. Yeah, essentially. I want to get into a super chat, and I'm going to run down this, and then I'm going to ask you the question. So there's also saying that Joy-Cons are going to be $90. The Pro Controller is going to be $80. And then I got this super chat from Triforce guy. He's saying, Gary, what do you think about the $450 or $499 plus $80 Pro Controller plus $80 for an additional game in the future plus online? Do you think all of that is fair?
What is a Pro Controller now? 70?
I don't know.
60 or 70?
I think 60. I could be off on that. It's been a long time
since
I
think so. It feels like they've bumped up the Pro Controller a little bit. I don't know. So I don't know if they showed it, but like in the Mario Kart video, one of the guys was using a Pro Controller that looked like maybe it was the new Pro Controller because it was like black but with like white accents. Did you see that? It looked. I don't know if they showed the Pro Controller in any depth, but like it looked like there is a new model of the Pro Controller. And I'm guessing it doesn't do a whole lot more other than maybe like they've added the chat button and if you're using it, it's probably going to have its own. It'll have its own microphone in it for voice chat, right? Because you'll be closer to the microphone than the system. Same way the PlayStation DualSense works. So I don't know. I mean, look, it's got more expensive. This is one. I'm not going to like sit here and go, "Oh, that's fine, that's great. You should give your money to our based god Nintendo because they can do no wrong. They do shit wrong all the time. They fucking Nintendo drive me crazy all the time with some of the decisions they make. Yeah, it is like I said, it's across the board, whether it be the games, whether it be the base system, Pro Controller, everything's got that bit more expensive. And, there's only a certain amount of that maybe you can offset to. So $80 right now for a Pro Controller. Oh, yeah, see how it's got the white accents on it? Almost looks like
and it has the back buttons now as well.
Yeah.
So that is standard on the Pro Controller. So one correction, the Switch 1 Pro, $70.
Okay, so it's the Switch 1 Pro and the Switch 2 is. What are they charging for this one? 80? So it went up by $10. Okay. Looks nice.
And then but the Joy-Cons are even more. They're 90, which is surprising.
Right. Well, I mean, it sounds like there's a bit more tech in the Joy-Cons now, right? With the mouse control and stuff like that. But still, everything's gotten more expensive. And maybe some of this you can put on tariffs and inflation and everything's fucking eggs are too expensive. Everything's fucking too expensive. Like I said, at the end of the day, does it feel good that the stuff costs as much as it does? No. Like it would have been nice to see everything maintain a little bit, but that's just not the fucking way of the world.
Agreed.
$50 for the camera, that's not too bad. I wonder if you can you use your own? They said, didn't they just plug in a USB camera? So presumably if you have a webcam around, you can just use that, right? They're offering their own version, but it's not necessarily this is the only one you can use, I think.
I would hope, but it's Nintendo, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, they said, I mean, you got to pass the language, right? They said plug in a USB camera, not the USB camera or our, whatever. I suspect that the camera part maybe, yeah.
Hey, Paris. Hey, Gary.
I would hope so.
I'm over here. I'm building the dock in the room so Gary's not alone.
I mean, by the time you're done with it, I'm going to be off the show.
I'm going to be your little... Well, I'm not...
And on my way home, because I thought I was here for the whole fucking day, because that's what you told me.
Stupid motherfucker.
That's what
All right, a lot of things have been changing. No, they still...
Yeah, a lot of things have been changing, so when they change, fucking tell me.
Well, because we still want you to come in for Pokemon.
I'm not doing Pokemon.
You want to come in and fuck with Nick?
What?
Come in and fuck around with Nick. You love Nick. Anyways, I'm being your stat boy over here. I grabbed a mic so I could keep you honest. Yes, they have confirmed any USB-C webcam.
Okay, so that's nice.
Good.
I wonder how good the camera. I imagine the camera that they're
didn't
giving
look
you $50. It can't be that great, right? That's like an
I noticed the video quality didn't look that great.
They didn't say anything about the video quality, did they? Like if it's 1080p or does it say
I don't
anything?
think so. I mean, I'm trying to go through this official press release to see if they say anything. I don't think so, but I'm sure we'll figure it out as we go along. But I do want to run down the actual specs of the Switch 2 hardware so we can be official on that. So they are saying it's a 7.9 inch LCD screen. It will do 1080p, 120 frames per second. Like I said, it is LCD HDR. Joy-Cons are magnetic this time.
This is a big one for me because I hate the Joy-Cons on the way that the Joy-Cons connect on those rails in the current Switch is a nightmare. It's fiddly, you know, like you feel like you're going to break them sometimes. You can put them on backwards and get them stuck. Like there a couple of times I got stuck. The Joy-Con just kind of got stuck on the rail, just got jammed and wouldn't come off. So being able to kind of just to snap them on and off magnetically, there's going to be a huge quality of life improvement.
Oh yeah, completely agree. And then from there, they're also saying that there's going to be bigger SL and SR buttons on there, larger control sticks. Again, we've already talked about the mouse controls that are part of the Joy-Cons now. 3D audio. This is all real time, so I don't have everything. So I'm assuming I can clearly still do Bluetooth audio as well. I wonder if that.
I didn't see it say Bluetooth on the audio output. I didn't see it. I did not see a Bluetooth.
I would imagine it. I'd be shocked if it doesn't.
I mean, they've got to have it. It's a basic thing, right? But like, all I'm saying is when I looked at the audio specs, I did not see Bluetooth listed.
Yep. And then it's coming with a new stand, so you can have it at any angle that you want, which is a welcome feature as well. 2 USB-C ports on the top and the bottom, obviously for charging and plugging in cameras
I like
and all
that.
those things.
Going back to the battery life thing, one of the things we were talking to Kat about was like, she was saying that she always when she's playing, even on handheld, it's always plugged in, so you don't have to worry about battery.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when you travel, right, you might bring a battery pack with you, like a booster pack to plug it in, because those work too, and they can give you a lot of extra life. So the fact that you can now charge from the top or the bottom is just a nice little thing, right? You know, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes you don't want the cable sticking out the bottom or the top, depending on how you're oriented. But you can now, do it any way you want.
Yeah, agreed. Internal storage, 256 gigabytes. How do you feel about that?
I mean, obviously, it's a big upgrade. From like 32 gigs. Obviously, was kind of a joke then. It's certainly a joke now. 256 is definitely an improvement. You're still going to run out of space on that really fast. The nice thing about it is this is an area where prices are very cheap, right? You can get a 1 terabyte micro SD card for like $50.
Maybe not so much. So to follow up on that was going to be my next point. Our current SD cards micro SD cards will not work on the Switch 2. You have to get a new higher speed SD card. I have not seen prices on that yet, but I'm assuming it's more.
Okay. Yeah. A micro SD Express. So, I mean, I don't know, like, could you go on, what does a micro SD Express card cost right now? We can price it right now, can't we? We know what those cost.
Yeah, maybe someone can help us out.
Now.
There you go.
That's just regular micro SD. Not sure how much I trust Gigastone as a brand.
I'm on Amazon. A micro SD Express 256 gig is $60.
Oof.
Okay. Yeah, so you're probably there's a $200 for the 1 terabyte. So now at that point you're in like Microsoft, memory card territory, right? This will obviously come down. The fact that they are giving you the 256 off the bat means you're going to hit that wall less early. There was a while on my Switch that before I needed to put a card into it. Again, though, the game's high definition, high resolution. These games are going to inevitably also going to take up more space. You are going to run out. Sooner or later, you're going to need to put a card in that thing. Hopefully, by the time that you need to do that, the prices will have come down a little bit, because that's like at least. I think you can get a really good like high speed regular micro SD card, like a quality Samsung one or a SanDisk or whatever, a terabyte for like $100. If the micro SD Express that we saw there is $200 right now, that's you're paying double. So yeah, it would be nice to see those cards come down.
Yeah, let's hope so. And then finally, the dock itself. So it is a new dock that has 4K support. 60 frames per second is going to be the max at 4K. They even just showed briefly, because the old one was really just a dummy terminal. You're plugging in HDMI, dock it, and on the screen. This one seems to have some internals now that is obviously supporting upscaling to 4K, and I think they talked about a fan in it or something crazy like that. I could be off on that, but it does come with 2 USB-A ports on the dock as well. So
There is a fan in there.
Yeah. I thought I saw that. So, I mean, again, we talk about price and we talk about what we're getting. I think the tech of what the Switch 2 is good. I'm very happy with what they're doing for this upgrade. It feels like a worthy successor to the original Switch because now we're playing at 1080p on the go. I can get 120 frames docked. I can now have 4K games. But the thing I kind of want to get into now, Gary, is, and I'm actually going to bring up another super chat on this, is New Mateo. And he is saying the domestic region locked Japanese Switch 2 is about 330 USD. So without the tariffs or with trade issues, I think it would have, wait, I'm sorry, I'm reading this wrong. Or trade issues, I think it would have been more online with that. So I think what he's saying, and I could be wrong, and we know the tariffs in the current state of the world, we're seeing all these prices. So I think that they're preemptively pricing this higher because of tariffs. I think the tariffs are an excuse personally, but what is your thoughts on all this with the price? Is tariffs affecting this, or the using?
I mean, I touched on it a little bit. I mean, obviously tariffs are affecting everything, right? And it's obviously, like, don't get me started. I'm not going to get into the politics of it. You know what? You know where I stand on this. But yeah, I think it's got to be. I think it plays some part, and not necessarily all. I think this is the price that they felt that they could hit. And like I said, it's disappointing that it is as much as it is. Again, for me, it's $50 over my over under. Other than that, look, shit just gets more expensive. Everything is fucking getting more expensive just through inflation and tariffs, and just shit just gets more expensive. You know, again, I remember when games were a lot cheaper. You know.
Yeah, and Greg is actually pointing out right now the yen is also weak.
Right.
So I'm sure all that factors
One thing
into it.
I wanted to go back to, because I missed it the first time around on the dock. I think the potentially most interesting thing about that is the dock has its own fan, which is really interesting in terms of the difference between the performance you're going to get out of the system when it's handheld and the difference when it's docked. Right now, there is a little bit of a difference already on the Switch, right? You put if you dock a Switch, you're gonna get higher frame rates and things like that because the dock is doing there's some upscaling that's going on or whatever. With a dedicated fan in the dock, I think you're going to potentially see a bigger performance upgrade from handheld to docked performance, because there's a lot of performance in portable systems and laptops and things like that is temperature capped, right? This is why you're never going to get really, really good frame rates or high performance off, say, like a laptop that is only passively cooled. And if it doesn't have its own fans spinning in there to cool shit down when it starts running hot, the performance is always going to be capped to that level. Once you add a fan, right, and all high-end systems have fans, you can start pushing the hardware a lot harder because the fan's going to deal with it. So I think potentially the additional fan in the dock could lead to a big, I think you might see like really noticeable performance upgrades when you dock it compared to when you're playing handheld.
So I want to get this other super chat, and then I want to start getting to some other things with all this news that we have here. So I believe I'm saying this, Mental Junior. Hope I'm saying this correctly. He's asking, does the game sharing aspect justify the price increases? I'll start and I'll answer that one. I don't think so. I don't think that's justifying the price increases. I think it's to everything that you've already been talking about, Gary. But what are your thoughts on that?
I hate to do this, but I was reading the chat and I didn't hear a word that you said.
Okay, the super chat was saying,
I was miles away.
God damn, be focused.
I'm trying to pay attention to your readers, your users. I fight for the users. What?
Does the new game sharing feature aspect justify the price increases?
So that is one aspect of it. So I know that they have these virtual game cards, right? And there's a new way to sharing games. This is something that I was not able to get caught up on before I came in this morning. So explain to me how this because game sharing in our house, like, it's a big deal, right? Like if we get a game, we kind of have to, on Nintendo Switch, you kind of have to figure out like who's going to play it most, right? Like, for example, we got like Hello Kitty Island Adventure, and we bought it on Leah's profile because she's the one that's going to play that the most. And if she's the assigned user, the assigned owner, she can play, without restrictions. But if she wants to play a game that I bought on my account, right, then there are more limitations. And it's just really annoying how that, and we see this on Xbox. We've seen it before. Oh, I can't play on the secondary machine because it says I'm not logged into the right account and all this bullshit. Is this going to fix that? Like, what's their solution?
Well, I think you have that virtual, game sharing card where I can essentially loan out my game to someone else that's in my family group for 2 weeks, and then it automatically comes back. So, like I said, we're still trying to figure out all the information.
But were you asking about something else?
Yeah,
though?
there's
like
two different things happening.
Okay, so when you say game sharing, I immediately go to that game card.
In the
thing
last Nintendo Direct, right, about Switch 1, they did that, Gary, where they're like, oh, you can loan out your copy of Mario Brothers.
Right.
Today they announced Game Share. With Game Share, a new Nintendo Switch...
How can you possibly get confused between game share and game sharing, right? I mean, that's fucking clear as day. The difference is obvious.
A new Nintendo Switch 2 feature, players can share and play the same game with others who do not have the game. If one person has a Nintendo Switch 2 system and a game compatible with Game Share, that person can invite others to temporarily play the same game via local play with their Nintendo Switch 2 or Nintendo Switch system. So they're talking about like if you us all playing Mario Kart
it takes two
together.
thing, but for every game?
Supported games that have multiplayer.
And did you say it only works locally, or does it work over online?
Local. This is local only.
Okay. I mean, that's good. I like that. So you can have your friends over to play Mario Kart, but you are the only one that needs to own the game, right?
Correct.
Okay. I like that. Is there a limit? I mean, did they say how many players you can have in Mario Kart? Is it 8 or 16, or what is it now? Like how many races can you have? 32? I think it seems like it was a lot.
24 can be on there. I'm not
24,
sure how many people can play. I don't know how
can-
many people can play.
Well,
though.
that's the thing.
How
How many people can play off of my card? Can all 23 do that?
No.
Or is it like capped to like 4 per? I don't know. Is that every time you go up another 4 players, someone's got to have a card or something? I don't know. So
yeah,
they're not always
I
transparent
jacked
about
that
this
up
stuff.
the way I phrased it, Gary.
People are saying 4 devices total. That's still good. I
think it's a great feature. I don't think this affects price increases. I don't think this has anything to do with it, which was the original question. But it's a great new feature. I
wonder if, like, if we had 6 friends who all had their own copy of Mario Kart, if they could all bring over 4 friends each, you have a 24-player LAN party in your living room, right? But you're all in the same. You're all on the same race course.
Absolutely not.
That would make too much sense, right?
Local play is always like that, where you can do a local player for like 4 or 8 or whatever, but then online.
So you can have 6 different 4-player races going on, but you couldn't Voltron them all together into one 24-player race.
I mean,
why not?
We barely know anything about this system right now, Gary. I doubt it, but who knows?
Yeah, I'm going to doubt it as well. All right, so moving on. Again, I do want to make sure we hit the super chats that we have. So I'm going to jump into this one really quick. So this is from Phil Silva, and he goes, games cost more to develop and devs pay more for eggs too. They deserve $80 for AAA games. Alternatives, buy smaller titles or wait for sales. Now, I'm going to say that I disagree on that completely because I'm not a fan of these rising prices of games. I understand, like you mentioned before, Gary, that game prices were static for a very long time, but we've literally gone from 60 to 80 within one gaming generation. And when does it end? And we obviously talked about the elephant in the room with Grand Theft Auto 6. How is that going to affect things as well? So I get it. There's rising costs with game development. We obviously see it way more in AAA than we do at the AA and the indie level. My suggestion to anyone is when they see these prices, I get there's FOMO. You want to play things right away. You know, if $80 is too much for you to play Mario Kart day one, maybe you have to wait until there's a price drop, sale, or whatever.
But to be fair, Paris, they never drop the prices on those games.
I know Nintendo never drops the price. I get it. Again, I'm not happy with it. None of this makes me happy. I mean, and again, I've already ordered the bundle, so clearly I'm going to get it day one. But no, I don't like the precedent that this is setting.
I'm as fucking woke libtard as they come. But like, and I don't like it either. But I'm not. It's not like we must give Nintendo all our money. We must worship at the altar of Nintendo, but just do whatever they say and charge whatever play they want. But it's like you might as well complain about the direction of the fucking sun rises in the morning. This shit is gonna happen. There's nothing we can do about it. Yeah, we can complain. It ain't gonna make any fucking difference. Shit's gonna get more expensive.
Now, speaking on that, to kind of transition a little bit, just talking about prices. So they've also announced that you're going to have select Switch One games. You're going to have backwards compatibility, but you're going to have select Switch One games, which will have a quote unquote Switch 2 enhanced version. Like I think Breath of the Wild was one of the ones they showed or something like that. But there's going to be a price with being able to either you can just buy the Switch 2 enhanced version standalone, or if you already own the game, you can pay an additional cost to upgrade it to the Switch 2 enhanced version. How do you feel about that? What are your thoughts on that? Is that justifiable to charge?
There's an additional detail to that, I believe. And again, I'm just coming in hot, having like watched all this.
Yeah, same.
While I was like making my
cornflakes
this morning, like watching it on the iPad in the kitchen, like trying to take it all in. I think if you have the online Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass, which gives you all the different benefits, one of those benefits is you don't pay for the upgrade. If you've got like Mario, like you've got Zelda, and they upgrade it to the new version, you're going to get that for free.
I believe that's just Zelda, unless I'm also coming in hot, trying to sort through a million different things. I think.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an additional bonus.
Jack, keep us honest on that.
But this is something where there isn't necessarily, I don't think,
that's only for Zelda. No, somebody else is saying it's the whole list.
I don't think there is necessarily
I love
an established practice on this, right? Some companies charge you.
Okay.
You see everything, right? From like,
to be clear, I was correct. It's just the two Zeldas.
Okay. All right. So there's no established practice on this yet, right? But we see it all the time, right? Because games are getting remastered all the fucking time. That sometimes there's just no option. It doesn't matter if you got the old one. You got to buy the new one all over again, and fuck you. Or it's like pay an extra $10 or whatever it is to upgrade your existing version, or we'll just upgrade you for free. Like they're experimenting with all these different price points and options, and Nintendo, I think, is like kind of trying to find something kind of sort of in the middle where it's a $10 upgrade, which I think is not unreasonable, and with some exceptions for certain games if you've got the online pass. So I think it's okay. This is not. I'm not going to throw a hissy fit over this one.
Yeah, and to add on to that, because Jordan Middler over at VGC, he also comments and says that Nintendo has released a list of games that will receive free updates for Nintendo Switch 2, but won't receive full Nintendo Switch 2 edition upgrades. So, and I won't go through this whole list, but it's games like Captain Toad, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury, Link's Awakening is another example, Pokemon Legends, Super Mario, what is this? Sorry,
is this
Pokemon Scarlet, Violet? Yeah.
Is this a list of games that are going to get the upgrade? Is that what we're doing?
These are games that will get a free upgrade.
Okay,
but they won't have a standalone update.
Got it.
It won't have a Switch 2 edition upgrade.
Got it.
Edition.
Understood.
Yeah. So again, it's not going to be every game, but you are going to have some that will have free. But I guess and I would imagine these are ones that, maybe it's a frame rate boost, things like that, but ones that they're actually going in and doing full on new features or extensive updates to, they're going to charge you for it. And I don't think we have a price yet on what those.
The Zelda upgrades look good. That is a game that obviously is absolutely like at the pinnacle of Switch gaming, but it is also a game that, chugs at times, right? Because it's a miracle that I remember reading a thing when Zelda Breath of the Wild first came out, and they had like a bunch of developers from different companies looking at it going, like, I don't even know how they fucking did this. Like, it's a miracle this thing's running at all, let alone, the performance that it has. But again, it's not perfect, right? And we've been seeing the Switch hit the ceiling of what it's capable of for a while now, with some of these ports of like Mortal Kombat and things that are just like, why did they even bother? The fact that some of the better and best games on the Switch are going to get that new lease on life just through the performance upgrade, I think is very cool. I think there's a lot of people that will probably go back and replay those games, once they've been enhanced.
Could completely agree on that. Like, take the pricing out of all of this for a second. I love the presentation. I love what the Switch 2 is going to be capable of doing, what it will do for some of the legacy games, and obviously some of the new games that we know will be coming to it at launch and beyond. So I'm happy that we're getting a Switch 2, but I do think, as we've already discussed, we got to talk about the reality of this pricing. So I'm going to throw it to the producer really quick. Do we need to take an ad break at all? I feel like we've been talking a really long time.
Yeah, absolutely, if you want to.
Let's take an ad break and we'll come back.
This episode's brought to you by Lost Skies. What would you do if you woke up and the world around you was now floating high in the clouds? Lost Skies is the new open-world survival-like that puts the power of exploration and choice in your hands. Use the physics-based grappling hook, glider, and your own custom airship to traverse the remains of this fractured world and uncover its mysteries. You and up to 5 friends will harness the power of ancient technology to survive the hostile islands that scatter the horizon and the threats that lurk in the sky itself. The battles are intense, so it's up to you to build a skyship to shelter you in fierce storms and take the battle to gigantic monsters. Want to take a break from fighting in the skies? Use the intuitive island creator and share your builds with the community. Head over to Steam and wishlist Lost Skies today and discover what's lurking beyond the horizon. This episode's brought to you by Monaco 2. Gather your crew, plan your heist, and let the chaos unfold in Monaco 2. Return to Monaco, a city teeming with excellent scores and gullible marks ripe for getting parted from their prized possessions. Go it alone or tackle heists as a team of 4 with online and local co-op. Just remember, even the best laid plans can blow up in your face, so you'll have to stay on your toes. Monaco 2 is the sequel to the cult classic Monaco. What's yours is mine that expands on every aspect of the game. New characters bring unique abilities and playstyles to help you escape the heat. And with new modes and procedurally generated levels, every run is full of surprises. The heist is on when Monaco 2 arrives on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation on April 10th. Y'all know how important it is to wishlist these games. It helps the developers so much, so please wishlist Lost Skies and Monaco 2. This episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. You sign up for something, forget about it after the trial period ends, and then you're charged month after month after month. The subscriptions are there, but you're not using them. In fact, 85% of people have at least one paid subscription going unused each month. Thanks to Rocket Money, you can see all of your subscriptions in one place and cancel the ones you're not using anymore, and save more money. Rocket Money has helped multiple members of Kind of Funny learn that they're still paying for things they totally didn't even realize. You know who I'm talking about. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/kindoffunny today. That's rocketmoney.com/kindoffunny.
All right, we are back. And Gary, you wanted to talk about the screen on the Switch.
There's one, because we were saying during the break, like, you know, have we talked about everything we're disappointed by, right? Like the price being the biggest one. The biggest thing that I was hoping for, and which I literally kind of like went, oh, when I saw it on the screen, was that it's not an OLED screen, right? And we all know once you go OLED, you never go back, right? You just can't. And we actually had this experience recently because my wife Leah is playing a lot of her Switch lately, and her OLED one died. I don't know why. It came back to life like 2 weeks later, but no, it just wouldn't work for a bit. And so she went to her older Switch, where it has the LCD screen. She was like, "Oh my god! Like, how did we ever live this way? Like, once the downgrading back from an OLED to an LCD is huge. Like the brightness and the color saturation and the richness of the blacks, and there's just no comparison. And so my concern is that even though this is a bigger screen, and I'm sure it's a better LCD screen than the old one, right? Maybe that, you know, HDR is also a big deal. That's, you know, you're going to get brighter colors. It's entirely possible that this is going to deliver something closer to OLED-like performance. And I think you will see an OLED bump down the road, just like they did with this first Switch one. But honestly, that was the biggest disappointment for me. Like, for me, the thing I most want to see now, and you can only show this to me like when I actually have the Switch in my hand, is how good is that screen compared to the OLED screen on the OLED Switch? Because if it's not as good, that's going to be the one area where you're actually seeing a downgrade, which is something you never want to talk about when you're going from one generation to the next, right?
Well, I mean, I went in not expecting OLED at all because knowing Nintendo's track record, they're going to sell us an OLED version probably 2 or 3 years down the road. To your point, I hope this LCD screen while it may not be as good as like my Steam Deck OLED or even my Switch One OLED, that it's good enough to get the job done so that it doesn't feel like a huge downgrade. Not to mention it's already $450. So imagine if this was
it'd be 500 at least with an OLED.
Yeah.
OLED's expensive, I get it, but I'm just saying, considering that they introduced OLED as an option for the Switch, the new one, which you expect the next version of the hardware to be better in every way than what came before. And
but Gary, you know what they're going to do. I mean,
of course,
like I'm going to give you my scenario in my house right now. All these kids are going to want one. I already know it, and I'm gonna be like, not at these prices, you ain't getting one. So what's going to happen is I'll probably get two of them. At first, I think my youngest daughter won't care as much, but then at some point, I'm going to hand me down my Switch 2 to her. And then I'm going to go buy the OLED. They know how this works. Of course. The number of people that will look at this and go, "Well, I'm not going to buy it at launch. I'll wait for the OLED bump like 2 years from now," is statistically, economically insignificant, right? It's not going to. Right.
It's not going to. They're not 2 years from now. Nintendo's not going to be looking at their Switch 2 sales and going, "Oh, we fucked up. We should have put OLED in the first one," right? No. I'm just saying personally, it's a point because I had the regular OLED and then the regular Steam Deck and then the OLED Steam Deck. I had the regular OLED, the regular Switch and then the OLED Switch. I used to have a regular PC gaming monitor and then I got an OLED one. There's no going back. Like once you've seen that, once your eyes have been opened to fucking OLED, you're not going back. And so I really hope that it is. Again, to me, it doesn't matter that much because I'm not a handheld gamer. All of my Switch 2 games, I'm going to play docked. Leah plays a lot. We're totally different. Like we're the perfect kind of Switch family. I'm docked. She's undocked. She likes handheld. I like to sit on the couch with a controller. So she'll notice the difference more than me. But I don't know. That's going to be the biggest thing, is the comparison of a Switch 1 OLED in one hand and a Switch 2 LCD in the other. Like what actually has the better screen? Switch 2 is going to have a slightly bigger screen, high resolution screen. But is it going to, again, in terms of the brightness and the vividness of the colors? I don't know if there's anything out there that can come close to what OLEDs are currently doing.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't expect it to live up to OLED. I do expect somewhat of a downgrade, but again, fingers crossed, it's an acceptable downgrade term. Like, okay, this isn't that bad. I'm still enjoying myself playing.
I'm already kind of telling myself the answer is probably no. Like my gut instinct is no. But do you think there would have been any wisdom at all to launching two SKUs, OLED and non-OLED, like OLED for the power users that want to spend the $50 or $100 more?
I'm sure that discussion was had, but I think again, you want to keep it as simple as possible.
No,
as
I think
far
you're
as
right. It just
launch.
confused people, and like again,
exactly.
they'll save it for their bump down the road, just like they did with the first Switch.
Yeah. And to the point, when the OLED came out, I got the OLED and I gave my original one, to one of my kids. So I think that's probably the pattern that we're going to see.
It used to be like old family heirlooms, like this little jewel box that survived the Holocaust, and now it's here, have my fucking OLED Switch.
Yeah. Agreed. Now, one other thing, because I want to kind of get into some of your favorite things, but I want to talk about this before we forget. Game key cards, and I'm going to read this off so we know what we're talking about here, because again, all this physical, what the hell is all this stuff? So for Nintendo, game key cards are different from regular game cards because they don't contain the full game data. Instead, the game key card is your key to downloading the full game to your system via the internet. After it's downloaded, you can play the game by inserting the game key card into your system and starting it up like a standard physical game card. Basically, this is, what is he saying? Basically, this is Greg. You get a digital game you can only use with the physical card. Dumb DRM. I agree, Greg. This is dumb DRM. I don't like this at all personally, because what it essentially is saying, you have to treat this like a physical game card, but I can't just hand it to someone to share it. So I don't get the advantage of this.
Why has no company figured out a simple, straightforward solution to this? Paris, I listened to every word you just said. I have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
I don't either. That's the point.
Do you understand a word that you just fucking said? Because it didn't make no sense to me.
Who's buying this?
They've made it more confusing.
Like, this is how I look at it, because I'm assuming, okay, I walk into a retail store. I would want the full regular physical card. Why would I want this? I would not want this. If I have to download the damn game, I might as well just get the digital version. What's the point? I don't, so I can lose the key card somewhere and now I'm screwed. I don't like this at all. So
isn't that ultimately their point though? Because like when they sell it to a retailer, they're selling it at like the bulk cost, right? But when they sell it to you, they get to keep that cost because they sell it at the same price. When you buy it from Nintendo, you buy it $80. What is it? Is it $80 now? It's the new.
Yeah, but then the physical version should cost more. But I'm assuming this game key card isn't more. I don't know.
That's crazy.
I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this is all coming in.
So fucking dumb. This one goes in the Nintendo column. Like the Nintendo's supposed to be the one company that simplifies this. Like, do you remember all the fucking aggravation when they first announced the Xbox One and how the game sharing there would work? It's like you can have the physical disc, but you can't like just give it to your friend. You can't resell your games, and people like shit the bed, rightfully so, and they had to walk it all back. Like, why are we back here again to like something that sounds like even more confusing and stupid?
I know, 12 years later, and it's still just as confusing. So clearly we need more information on this because on paper this doesn't make sense to me. I don't know who the target audience for this is because either I want a physical copy, which means I want it on that cartridge so I can share it with my kids or whoever, or I'm just getting the digital version. I don't know why I would walk in a store and buy this. It doesn't make sense to me.
This is, so we'll see. This one annoys me in a different way, but this is almost as dumb as now when you buy like the big mega special edition of a game and it comes with the fucking 4-foot maquette and a fucking chainsaw and an art book and everything else, and then you open up the box and there's no fucking disc. There's a code.
Right.
Everything except the fucking game. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is annoying.
I think Avowed just did that to your exact point, but
like loads of games are doing it.
It's the new digital world we're in now. I'm like I said, I'm a digital person, whereas I don't collect physical copies anymore, except on honestly probably Nintendo. But so I'm perfectly fine having a digital copy of a game, but I understand the audience out there that wants physical copies. This is not for them. Because you will have people that will willingly want to spend the extra $5 or $10, whatever it is, for the physical version of that Nintendo game. Because again, they want to easily be able to share it. It's a collector's item, whole thing.
And I haven't fully explored it. Maybe they already have it, but I doubt it because again, it would make too much sense. Is some kind of family plan where if I buy a game, no matter what profile I buy on, everyone in my family group is licensed to access it. That's how it should be.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
We've been talking about the game. We've been talking about the game, like Game Pass needing a family plan, right? They've been trialing that. It drives me crazy when I paid whatever it is, $60, $70, $80, $90, $100 for a fucking game, and my wife wants to go into another room and play it on her Xbox because my kid's playing Switch in the living room or whatever, and she can't do it because I bought the game. It's my wife. They're saying fuck you to my wife. Like, you married this fucking schmuck? The least we can do is give you his fucking video games to play, right? Yeah. But no, it's just stupid. Fucking fix it.
Oh, I'm in agreement. Now, if you want to continue your rant, I'm looking at GameStop and their trade-in plan for getting Switch 2. So, Gary,
okay, go on. I'm listening.
Yeah, if you go to GameStop, you can get up to $175 towards your Nintendo Switch 2 reservation when you trade in the following. If you trade in your Switch,
your house, your car, your 401k.
Yeah. What Switch OLED is $175. Your Switch version 1 or version 2 is $125.
Now what's for the Lite?
Switch Lite is $100.
I mean, that's not bad. There are going to be some people that obviously are looking to trade in. There are more likely with us, the way it works with iPhones and things in our house is they get passed on, right? Like my OLED Switch will probably get passed down to my kid has like a regular as a Switch Lite right now. She will probably get my OLED Switch when we upgrade to the Switch 2. Or maybe I will trade it in. I don't know yet. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't see me trading mine in. If anything, I'm one of my kids is going to want my OLED, so I'd see one of them's going to get that. But then maybe I'd take theirs and trade it in. I don't know.
175 for the OLED's actually pretty decent, I think.
Yeah, this isn't that bad actually.
What do they then flip it for? They buy it off you for 175. What do they then go and resell it for?
Probably at least 250,
250?
Right? 250, 275.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
So One thing I do want to get back to before we get to the very end here, because I know we're coming up on it. So I know you didn't get to see everything, but was there something that stood out to you that got you excited about Switch 2?
Yeah, a couple of things. I think remains to be seen, but I think the mouse Joy-Cons do have a lot of potential, right? For, they showed some use cases for it with the basketball game and so forth. It's going to be a little bit tricky because anyone who's ever tried to do like PC gaming in the living room will tell you, unless you're sitting at a desk, playing a PC game in a traditional way, it's hard to sometimes to sit comfortably in a way where you can do mouse controls, like at the coffee table, or I have a little lap desk thing that I use, but like it's never as good. But I mean, maybe with these mice it'll be a little bit easier. Like if you're all sitting around a table or whatever. If you're sitting at the kitchen table with your Switch, the little Switch unit there, I think it'll be relatively easy. But like living room gaming with a mouse has never been. I just think it does open up a lot of possibilities for control, because obviously they're combining the mouse surface, the traditional mouse features with, you can then lift it up and, do other things. So I think there's a lot of motion control and mouse type control possibilities with this that I think, as the games come out, there's a thing that's shipping. I don't know if it's shipping with the Switch or it's available same day. That's like their Astro's Playroom thing. It's like their Nintendo Switch 2 tour or whatever. That's going to show off all the things it can do with like specific games that are meant to show.
That you have to buy.
Oh, you have to buy it. Yeah.
You.
But at least it's not one.
That's insane.
But I think I doubt this is going to be like 1-2 Switch all over again. They should just give it like why that they should just that's fucked up. Just give that to people, right? Like Astro's Playroom. Right? Showcase what the hardware can do. You should have something. Like, I'll go further and say they should, for $449, they should have just fucking bundled Mario Kart World in with every system for free. Back to the days of like, hey, remember when you get a pack-in game? Just give us the game for free. Nintendo can afford it, right? They'll still do it for a limited time at launch, then take it away. People can still buy the game separately, but throw fucking Mario Kart World in for us. Digital code costs nothing for them to add it on. They're going to make billions of dollars anyway.
But I think what they're really doing...
that showcase game, 100% Astro's Playroom, they should have chucked it in there for free. Come on.
I completely agree on that. I think it's ridiculous that they're charging for that. But in a weird way, I think they're viewing that Mario Kart World bundle at $500 as your packing game. Because you do save money if you buy it.
I suppose.
Buy the bundle.
Come on. So just to move along quickly, I think the mouse controls, I think you're going to see a lot of... Nintendo's great at this, right? They're going to find ways to utilize that. We go, oh my God, how clever. They're going to do some cool stuff with it, I think. And then voice chat is a big step up. I did want to address this real quickly. It's so nice to see Nintendo finally fucking joining the present day in terms of online features. Nintendo's obviously always been very weird about online. They were late to embrace it just entirely, and then obviously they made it very, very restricted. And I understand why, right? There's a lot of fucking pervs out there, and Nintendo doesn't want any of that noise. They don't want people fucking grooming your kids over Mario Kart. Like they've got to protect kids from that. And the way that they have traditionally approached that is just completely fucking locked down. Like you may not talk to anyone. And then they added the chat app, but it still wasn't integrated. Now that it's fully integrated with the screen sharing, with the camera, and the camera is doing some clever things, right? You can things that you'd expect a webcam to do, but it's going to be the processor that's doing all this, right? The virtual background replacement and zooming in on your face and stuff like that. It's going to do those things for you. Putting the face in the little speech bubbles, just things that I think are clever. And then obviously the next part of that, which is necessary for Nintendo, is making sure that it is family safe. And I think being able to set the chat restrictions via the app, like my kid may just not use these, or particularly I like the idea that you may you can only talk to people that I've approved, like an approved contact list of your friends, right? So the parents know who they're talking to. And then the chat history thing is really good as well. I thought, I can understand what they didn't do, but I actually thought you'd be able to click on that and see a video replay of their chats. But all it's actually giving you is a call log, Jenny played with Johnny for 5 hours or whatever in this game in voice chat. So you can see who they've been talking to. But yeah, if they're going to introduce fully featured chat apps and chat functionality, voice chat, video chat, screen sharing, there has to be that really robust parental guidance, supervision,
100%.
Control stuff. Is it just me, or does what's at the bottom of that screen look exactly like Discord? Are they using Discord?
If they are, they haven't officially said so.
I mean,
but-
but
this is all
that's exactly
proprietary,
what
but-
Discord chat
Yeah,
windows
yeah,
look
It's
like.
proprietary, but it does look exactly like
I
Discord.
think they just
Yeah.
copied it.
Maybe
What-
they partnered with them on the down low. Who knows?
Have they said if the camera works when it's not docked?
That's a good
No.
question. I don't know.
Because like it would be kind of cool to buy like a cheap camera that's just on a like long stick that you can just put on the top, and then you're just using that feature.
I bet
directly.
if you can, I bet you they'll sell like little clip-on cameras that will plug right into the USB thing on the top.
That'd be cool.
But I don't know. Because again, all of that stuff is involved is processing on the Switch 2 side, and if it's not docked, then you know that's substantial. Like background removal and stuff like that is substantial enough that you could see game performance
Also,
hits.
it's interesting on this. They're playing a game, and like it looks like you can choose like just remove the background or put you in a little like circle.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah, and again, I'm saying that's all being done by the hardware and the software on the Switch. That none of that's going to be in the camera for $50.
Yeah.
So I'm saying there is a bit of a. I did appreciate that when they showed the screen sharing, they didn't try to bullshit it. Like they showed it for what it is almost certainly going to be, which is a bit stuttery. Did you notice that? Like it wasn't completely fluid when they're sharing someone else's screen.
Oh yeah, it's really stuttery.
Yeah.
You're right. Which also looks like Discord when you send it at a lower bit rate.
Guess we will find out more, obviously, when June 5th,
So
when it comes out.
in summary,
Yeah.
biggest disappointments: price, screen. Things that I'm most potentially excited about. The biggest things things that I was happiest to see. The mouse Joy and the magnetic Joy-Cons. By the way, I still don't understand like how the clip. Well, if it's magnetic, how is a clip releasing it? Like, does it? It doesn't
They
demagnetize
said it's
it.
a really strong magnet.
Yeah, so there's magnet.
so,
And, you know, like, if you've ever dealt with a really strong magnet, yeah, like you can make them really fucking strong, so they're not going to snap off even with like really robust. You know, because you're doing this. You know, sometimes when you play, you don't want them snapping off, but the magnets are going to be strong to hold them on. So I don't understand what the clip part of it is. Is there still a physical clip? I don't know, or maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, the magnet
Yeah,
is activated by an electrical current. Okay, so it's an electromagnet, which is cool. And then so when you press that button, it's just going to demagnetize it. I like that. Yeah, fucking magnets. How do they work? I don't want to talk to no scientist. It's magic.
It's not.
Let me get to what my quote unquote disappointment and the things that had me excited about it. I think we've already covered
And the
a lot
voice
of it.
chat. Those are the two things that the online features. I think those are the biggest improvements, other than just like performance upgrades and everything else.
Yeah, agreed.
We
Completely
expect
agreed.
that.
But one thing that disappointed me because they didn't show it and I really wanted to see it, no 3D Mario. That'd probably be my only real big thing that they did not show at this that I was hoping to see. I'm guessing at this point now, especially I think the movie is next year. Maybe they tie it in with that and start revealing it in 2026. But one thing that they did show, which I was expecting, was a new Donkey Kong. And I know you didn't get to see
I
it,
didn't
Gary.
see. I don't give a fuck about Donkey Kong, but that was the one thing I didn't see. Yeah.
Yeah. But Donkey Kong Bonanza is coming.
Can you put that on screen? Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I think he's putting it up now. But that's coming in July. And it is a new 3D platforming action adventure exclusive for Switch 2. It looks great. And it was so funny. I got a bunch of DMs that go, see, there's your Banjo-Kazooie. I was like, that is not Banjo-Kazooie. Don't tell me that.
Have they ever
I'm
done a
excited
Donkey
for it.
Kong game in this full-on like Super Mario Odyssey style before?
I don't think closest would be 64? I think this is probably the closest to what this is. But
I know very
this
little
is
about
definitely-
Donkey Kong because those games have just never interested me.
Yeah.
I won't play
But-
this. I don't care. Let me ask you this, Paris.
I'm there day one for this.
Do you think there's any chance that Nintendo still has something in its back pocket between now and launch? Like there's another. We know they're in a Mario Kart Direct. I wonder, is there anything else that they could still like drop on us, or do you think that we've now seen everything that is substantial for launch?
I don't think first party. I think something third party is still to be revealed, because think about this. Xbox had zero presence at this, and I was surprised because we know Xbox is going to be bringing games to Switch too. So I would imagine we're still going to hear some news about that from Xbox. I mean, I know we're getting Split Fiction is coming from EA. Hades 2 is coming, which I'm very excited to the platform. Cyberpunk 2077, like I've talked about already, is coming to the platform from a third party standpoint. But I think first party, I think this is it for the launch window. I don't think
but we are, you're right, we're at the very thin end of the wedge for what is going to come, right? I do think you're going to see the Microsoft, I think you're going to see Forza and even Halo, right? You're going to see the Master Chief Collection on Switch too. I think you are going to see that. And that actually, you're going to see a lot of cool stuff. And this kind of leads me to the last thing that we actually didn't really discuss, maybe because we don't have enough information, but like, do we have a sense yet? Like they said 4K, they said 120, they just say custom NVIDIA chip. I don't think they did like a bunch of like fucking teraflop information or whatever. Do we have any kind of sense yet in terms of how much of a performance upgrade this is? Like, is this thing gonna be in Xbox Series X, PS5 territory? Even like, is this gonna be an issue? Like, I guess the practical version of this question is: will we finally be getting past a point where like the Switch port of a game, a multi-platform game, is by far the worst one, and people are like, "Why'd you even bother?" Like, I mean, Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch is a joke, right? And a lot of the ports on Switch are a joke. Will this fix that? Do you think? Will this narrow the performance gap in a significant way?
I think so. And I use Cyberpunk again as the example. The fact that they have that running on this has to at least be Series S, right? At least, so probably.
That's what I mean. I don't know. That's what I'm asking. Right now, that gap is massive. We know it's going to close the gap somewhat, but like, and it probably won't be until like we see a full teardown or Digital Foundry get their hands on one or whatever. But I would like to see just how big the two things. How much of an upgrade over the Switch is it? So like in one direction and in the other direction, like how much did it close the gap between the other current generation consoles, right? Because I don't think we're expecting parity with Series X or PlayStation 5. Like that would be mental. But like, is it going to be meaningfully closer? I hope so. I think that's what we need. I
think so, because I do think they're doing a lot of like the DLSS, for lack of a better term, under the hood to, get up the resolution, frame rate, all of that. So, I mean, we'll see until we actually get them on record to talk about the technical specs. And like you said, we might have to wait for Digital Foundry to do it closer to launch. I don't know if Nintendo will actually have a technical showcase to talk about this at all.
I will
probably the close.
I would just say, want to come back to what I said earlier. Do not sleep on that fan in the dock. Cooling is such a big factor in performance that I think that when it's docked, at least, and that extra fan is able to cool shit, you're going to get so much more performance out of it. I think those are going to be some of the most interesting numbers. Performance when in handheld mode and performance when docked with the fan doing its thing.
Completely agree. And I assumed coming into this, it wouldn't just be a dummy terminal anymore for that dock. So the fact that they're actually putting, some internal hardware into that dock is going to help with performance. I mean, we're getting 4K Nintendo games now, when it's docked. So that is definitely an upgrade I'm excited to see. Now, I know we are running low on time, and all of this has been about Switch 2, and I do apologize for the lack of solid information on a lot of this stuff because it's coming in so hot. So most of this, Gamescast did an excellent job breaking down all the games and everything that you already saw. This was kind of more of Gary and I's top level thoughts about Switch 2, but I do want to hit one final super chat before we do.
Oh, sorry. Can I say just one other thing? Because when I saw it, I got to bring this up on the show. When they showed the video for Nintendo Voice Chat, like the opening 20 seconds of it were hilarious to me. Because she's like sitting there on the couch, she's like, alone. But then the other voices come, she's like, but together? And it's like the people in Nintendo literally just fucking discovered online gaming. It's like, wait, hold on. So she's on her own, but there are other people with her, but not in the same room? You just blew my motherfucking mind. And this obviously is shit that we've like been taking for granted for decades, but they're introducing it like they just figured this out. And it's like a fucking mind-blowing concept. Alone, but together? How can you be both? Wait, what?
It's Nintendo.
Fuck.
This is what they do.
It's fucking great.
One thing I thought was wild is they're not wearing headphones, right? In that.
No, because the microphone and the speaker is all in the thing.
Yeah, but like your TV speaker is putting the audio out of the people talking, and the microphone is right next to the TV.
The speaker on the Switch might be putting out the voice audio.
I don't know.
Yeah, and
the mic
plus they
has
said
noise
they have
canceling.
voice canceling.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. That's cool.
That's going to be the same shit, the same NVIDIA shit that is doing the background removal and face identification on the
NVIDIA
camera.
broadcast.
Yeah,
right? That's
exactly.
cool.
Yeah, it's gonna have
I
some
love
version of NVIDIA broadcast doing all of that shit.
So let me get to the super chat. And this is from Zeke Speak. And Gary, your shirt goes hard.
Thank you. I made this myself.
Gary, where can you get that shirt?
Kevin, put the link in the chat. There you
want me
go.
to put the link in the chat?
The OPSEC
Okay.
T-shirt.
So it's
There you
Gary
go.
dash Witta
So we're in the process of having
shop.fourthwall.com.
We're
Really
having very reasonably priced, $20. I'm having GaryWitter.com in the price is migrating, so when you type that in, it'll take you to the store. But right now you've got to go to Gary-Witter-shop.fourthwall.com. Anytime I have like a stupid idea for a t-shirt or whatever, I chuck it on there. And this one's actually been a good seller. Because it's
Great shirt.
patriotic.
It's awesome. Now, there's a second part to the super chat, and this person is talking to me saying, Paris's energy goes hard. What a day to be alive.
Oh,
yes,
you can still get you still get 3 Witcher Moon. Still
damn it.
available.
Gary Paris is talking to you.
Gary don't care. Gary's like, buy my shirt.
Yeah, well, I'm in selling mode now.
I'm sorry, Paris. Please continue.
No, it's all good. I'm assuming, I'm going to read this next part, but I'm assuming we're not doing it. So, as the host, I'm tired of all this big Switch news. If I wanted something smaller,
nobody had any time for Wii news. There's no time for Wii news.
I know we didn't have time, but I'm still just reading it. See,
Yeah, we want to hear the music at least.
Yeah,
So there's no Wii news?
yeah. There's no Wii news.
It's all
Alright.
big
I knew
news
there
today,
wasn't.
guys. It's all big news today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how is there room for any other news on Switch 2 day?
So actually, I do want to do this. There's a couple of your wrongs here. So it looks like this one's talking about, is this Michael GK? I believe that's his name. He's saying regarding game key cards, this is not what most Switch 2 game cartridges will be. This is exactly how they already do this for some large third-party games on Switch 1 that don't fit on the cartridge like NBA 2K. You're just giving it an official name now. The majority of games, including all first-party games, will be on normal cartridges. And I
didn't even know that. There are some Switch games that don't have physical versions because they won't fit on the card.
The Witcher, right?
Yeah, he's saying game key cards are only going to be on things like Elden Ring, Cyberpunk, etc. And scrolling back, important to note, this doesn't tie the download to your account. The game key card can be resold or shared just like a physical game, as a cartridge is still the license to play the game. That's why people still buy these instead of just a digital copy.
I think the point still stands, though, that this is confusing as fuck.
Yeah, I don't like it. I still don't like it.
But
I get what they're saying. It doesn't fit on the card itself, and you can't share it and trade it and do all of that. The average person, that shit's going to be too complicated for them. They're not going to do that.
Yeah, the fucking the grandma in Walmart or whatever looking to buy something for little Johnny is not going to fucking know what all this is.
But am I understanding wrong? Like, I don't think you'd notice. You get a card, you plug it in, and it's like, hey, you have to download the thing, and it's like you always have to download an update, right? It's just a bit bigger.
Well, see, like, you should work for Nintendo because you've just explained it to me better than they did.
I mean, I might be wrong, but
If that's it,
well, you're probably not wrong. But what about? I'm pulling this out of my butt, but I don't have access to internet, and I'm just like, oh yeah, you want to play this here, and I just hand it to someone, and they don't have internet.
Or some people don't have fast internet.
You guys, everyone.
Well, a lot of people still have data caps. They're not going to want to fucking buy a physical game and then download a 50 gig fucking file.
You go to play Call of Duty, and it's 80 gigs.
Yeah, and that's just for the update.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's getting silly. So if the update's that bad, how bad is the full fucking game going to be? Right?
Well, yeah, but Nintendo, like, their games are small, so it won't be that big.
Well, they're not so small that they can fit on a fucking game card, are they?
Yeah, that's crazy, because, like, game cards, like, you can't, like, I'm so shocked.
And aren't these new Nintendo Switch 2 game cards presumably going to have greater capacity? I don't know. There's still a lot of shit we don't know.
No, they're faster
Yeah.
readers.
Yeah, they're faster read. That's why you have to get the new micro SD cards to be a faster reader as well. I don't know. Like I said, this has been a huge info dump today from this Nintendo
It's a lot to
Direct.
process.
Like I said, The good definitely outweighs the bad in this. I mean, no one should be a fan. I shouldn't say no one should, but I am not a fan of price increases, but it is the reality of the world that we're in now. So we'll see once we get closer to June 5th what the entire launch window lineup's going to be, both first and third party. I think the games that we've seen so far interest me. We didn't even talk about Metroid Prime 4. I'll just say this really quick. That is a cross-gen game. So Metroid Prime 4 will be on Switch 1, and then there is the quote-unquote Switch 2 version of it as well. So looking forward to that.
But we were just saying
before
during the break, right? Like Mario Kart World is not going to get a Switch 1 version, right? That's not going to happen.
That is Switch 2 exclusive. Same with Donkey Kong as well, and Kirby's Air Ride is also Switch 2 exclusive as well. So again, we're getting, like you mentioned, Gary, we're going to get a specific Mario Kart World Direct. I'm forgetting the date now.
It's sometime in April. It's coming up.
It's coming soon
or something. Yeah,
something like that. But this was good. It's been a good day. It's always good to get a new hardware reveal.
One significant step closer to the Switch 2. I mean, like I'm telling you, like June's going to roll around. It's going to be. Oh, sorry, July is it? No, when is it? June 9th?
June 5th.
June 5th. That's going to be here before you know it.
Game Fest week. That's Summer Game Fest week.
That's 2 months away. That's only 2 months away, Paris. It's coming. What do you think it's going to be like on day one? The pre-orders on day one, is it going to be a shit show like it always is?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah. I mean, I'll keep it real with you again. I have Amazon gift card credit, so even though I got it off of Nintendo.com, I want to get it off of Amazon. So
I'm going to do the thing where I pre-order it at like 3 different places, and then probably end up with like 3 different systems, and then I'll sell on either return them or sell those on to people that someone else that wanted one but couldn't get one or whatever.
Your friends.
Yeah, that'll be the smart thing, so we can make sure everybody gets one. Of course.
Yeah.
So I think, Gary, that's it. I think there's
a lot to talk
about.
To
the end of the show.
I'm sure there's a lot that we missed.
I feel like I don't like having all the information and I'm off the top of my head and I'm getting shit wrong and all of that and are assuming.
I mean, we're coming in hot here. We just saw it. There's a lot of things that weren't. Yeah. There's still a lot of things we don't know, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Paris,
and I do thank Greg in the background for helping out with the sheet and updating in real time.
You guys killed it. You guys killed a great episode.
No, thank you, Greg. So Gary, I am going to sign off now and let everybody know that this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy news you need to know about live on YouTube, Twitch, and podcast services around the globe.
I'm back on Monday as well to host with Blessing.
Gary won't even let me do the end of it.
Sorry.
So he just keeps going.
Let him do. You hear him talking.
No, that's why I love you. That's why I love you. If you love what we do, support us with the Kind of Funny membership on Patreon or YouTube to get all your shows ad-free. Watch us record them live and get a daily exclusive show. Enjoy the Gamecast next and the stream after that. But you already got Gamecast, so you're going to get a stream after this, which is Pokemon. You're not getting what you want to, Gary. You're getting
I'm
Pokemon,
not.
So stick around for that.
I'm not.
Come hang out with Nick, Gary. He likes movies.
I was sold a bill of goods.
Gary, you coming on Monday? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm coming in on Monday. Well, unless Greg changes his fucking mind again and doesn't tell me.
Yeah, don't worry. He won't tell you. You'll still come in.
Show up and you guys have fucking moved to another office or something. Oh, did we not tell you?
Let me get the last line out. But until next time, it has been our pleasure to serve you.